Cincinnati's ready for the Big 12. It was time for them.
I am fired up.
It's a blessing to be able to be in this league with y'all, putting on for UC.
Cincinnati, a basketball school.
And there he goes. Touchdown! Bearcats!
Raquama again. Another slam inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GoBeercats podcast. I'm Brandon. He's Darin. And as you can see on our far right, we have our first head coach on the podcast from the University of Cincinnati. As the golf season is about to kick off literally this week, we have Coach Doug Martin here to give us a little bit of a preview for what to expect this spring in terms of Bearcats golf. Super excited and honored to have you on the show, Coach. How's it going?
Well, I'm glad to be the first coach on the show. I got your message the other day, and always like to talk about our golf program.
Hey, absolutely. We what we did here, Coach, is we came up with some questions that kind of interested us in terms of what's happening around the program, and we opened it up to some of the Catskeller Social Club members, and they came up with some questions for you as well. We know you're on the road. You guys are playing, or you guys have an event in, is it South Carolina? Starting Monday?
Yeah, Bluffton, South Carolina.
And it's the Colton River Club in South Carolina there.
Yeah.
So,
Colin River.
Tell us a little bit about the group of guys you have and how, I think there's a lot of people obsessed with golf, whether it's LIV or PGA, and I'm sure there's opportunity for people to learn about, the college game as well. But, we want to get into all of that. So just maybe start off, tell us about, the group of guys that you have right now and how the program's coming together.
Well, really, I think, you look back, this is, I think, year 19 for me. When I first took over the program, the program was not in a very good place, from a funding standpoint, from a scholarship standpoint. We've had some ADs come in and really have invested time and energy in the program. And, we've continued to build this thing really for the last probably 12 or 13 years to where we've been a top 100 program for the last 12 or 13 years. As far as this team goes, we have one senior, one junior, and 3 sophomores currently in our top 5. So we're really, on the college landscape, I would say we're a pretty young team. We'll lose Ty Gingrich at the end of this year, who this is his 5th year, was a redshirt player his first year. Has had a phenomenal career to this point here at Cincinnati. We would be ranked a lot higher nationally had he had his normal fall season. He had a little bit of a down semester, but is trending in the right direction as we speak now. So we have a lot of youth. We have a great level of young talent that is, I think, at this point, really getting ready to explode.
Now, speaking of young talent, what can you, speak of the emergence of, young Ryan Ford last year? He made some noise, around the country. And I believe he was a freshman of the year.
He was freshman of the year. He is, I am looking forward to the next 2.5 years with Ryan as far as, he was a kid that came in his first year and really had all of the skills to play the game at an extremely high level, but really not 2 things. He didn't know how good he was, and he didn't know how to play the game. When you're starting to play game at a higher level, you have to have the intangibles and some of the small things. He didn't manage his game very well. He didn't manage the course very well. He spent the fall semester really playing as an individual, and he came to my associate head coach and I at the end of the fall semester and said, I want to help this team in the spring. I've learned a lot in this fall semester. I'm ready to go. And so we went home for Christmas. We came back, and we typically take 3 practice trips down to Florida before we start our season in the spring. And he went down and he literally kicked everybody's ass for 12 or 13 rounds. And I looked at my assistant coach and I was like, if we don't play this kid in the first event, why did we even take these practice trips to go down and assess where these players were? So he comes out, we play at Puerto Rico, our first event last year, shoots 15 under, finishes second place, and really honestly should have won the golf tournament. He really just got beat by a kid in the last round. And then shortly thereafter, I think he finished second, one other place, and I'm trying to think of where it was, but he just really started to tap into his potential. And again, in the fall, he wasn't on point, was a little bit off with his play. I think it had a lot to do with he had a very busy summer, played a really busy schedule over the summer, and I think he came in to the fall semester, I think, a little bit tired. Now he's had a little bit of a break. We've had our 3 practice trips to Florida, and he has looked incredibly sharp in our 3 practice trips. So, he's one of those guys that, you look at as an alpha dog on your team, and someone that for the next 2.5 years, I envision him being, potentially moving into having a chance to be an All-American here at Cincinnati.
Wow, that's good stuff. And I know you guys were, or the team was it last season jumped into the top 25.
Yes.
So how can you use like that momentum that you guys had last season and kind of take that now competing in the Big 12?
Well, I think over the last 10 years, we've built a program, we've built a culture to where our expectation each year, the bar is continuing to raise. And I think you have a group of guys where, first and foremost, the work ethic on our team is as good as anybody in America. We have guys that love to practice, really are into getting better and learning different ways to get better. The momentum of last year really just allowed me as a coach to say, okay, here is the standard. How do we take it to another level? And that's what we're trying to do right now. And through the recruiting that we're doing right now, we have a good class coming in next year. We have a really good class signed for 2025. The future is extremely bright, but, we talk about every single day we have a responsibility to each other to get better. Not only me as a coach, but the players. We're all trying to advance and find ways to get better because, the listeners out there who may not be familiar with college golf is as competitive. One shot here, one shot there can make a significant difference in your year. And, it's each of our players trying to find that one shot per day, because when you have guys that find one shot per day, that turns into 12 shots a week. When you look at 4 guys saving one shot per day and you look at our schedule and you say, okay, we're going to be 12 shots better than what we were each week. We've probably won 3 times already this year. And that's just one shot a day per player. So we put a premium on trying to find ways to get better. And then really we've spent this entire off season trying to do the easy things better in golf. And someone might say, well, what's easy about golf? And it's like the stuff that we're working on is when we have a wedge in our hands, we're not making bogeys. When we have a basic up and down around the green, we're trying to get it up and down at 80% plus rate. We know we're going to have difficult up and downs and we're not going to get the ball up and down every time. But when we're in position to do that, we want to get it up and down 80% of the time. We want to eliminate 3 putts. We want to eliminate, errors where we weren't disciplined and we weren't committed to the shot. All those things are things that we control. The greatest thing about golf, there are no defenders in golf. You may be 6'2" and you're a guy that's guarding you 6'7". Well, you know what? You don't have much of a chance. But, with golf, you have no defenders. You're responsible for your part and get after it.
Love it.
That's good stuff. That's great advice for any golfer there with the the one shot better a day. That's good stuff. Whether you're a D1 college athlete or some guys like us who got into the game late.
Yes.
That's good advice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you were kind of speaking about the shape of this team and how it's coming together. The future that you're building. Can you speak a little bit more to the tools you guys have coming that you're using there? I know that you guys recently had a renovation to the indoor facility last year.
Yes.
How's that been servicing you guys, and how you liking it?
So basically, we are blessed from a facility standpoint. Most of our golf we play at Coldstream. We play Summit Traditions over in northern Kentucky, but the addition to our indoor facility that was completed middle of the summer, sometime in July. It's an 8,000 square foot indoor facility that both the men and the women use. We have 4 TrackMan simulators, about 2,000 square foot of putting, a team lounge, team meeting room, putt view, which is newest and greatest thing with putting, and then a club repair room. And so really it gives our student athletes an opportunity to have kind of a one-stop shop when we don't have great days in January and February. And the TrackMan simulators are so advanced that I've even told the guys on my team, if I was playing on the PGA Tour again like I did through the 90s, I would have this simulator and putt view in my house, and the only time I would go outside would be to play golf. All my practice would be done on this simulator because of how real it is. And Titleist has come up with a golf ball that has, whether it's a Pro V1 or a Pro VX, it's got a sensor in the golf ball. And when you're hitting balls into the screen, it's basically giving you 99% accuracy on spin, launch, height, carry, total number. It's really unbelievable. And I'll tell you how good it's been for us is in the fall last year, we had 2 days where we went inside the day before we went to a tournament, and it was 80 degrees outside. And all we were wanting to do was calibrate numbers. And so, you typically go to a driving range and you hit balls to targets, but you really don't know the exact number that the ball's carrying. And so we now have the ability to do that at our indoor facility. And it's become a hangout for both our men's teams and women's team. And the camaraderie of our team is, at its peak with the things that they want to do together. It's been a great addition to our program.
Now, keeping up with the facilities there, is that something you can point to in the recruitment game? Especially, obviously Texas is only here for, this back half of the season now with they have like a 14,000 square foot facility.
Yes.
You got Arizona State coming in with a lovely 7,000 square foot facility themselves.
Yeah.
Is that something you can point to?
I think when you're looking at a Texas, for example, their facilities in every sport are better than everybody else around the country. It's just that simple. You look at an Oklahoma as well. Oklahoma's got great facilities, but the programs that we're adding into the Big 12 in Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, they're great programs, and they're only gonna increase the level of golf that's being played in the Big 12. And you can look at the Big 12. You talk about the basketball, you talk about, baseball, and the golf conference in the Big 12 is the best sport in the Big 12, period. You're looking at SEC golf and Big 12 golf are 1 and 2 in the country. And, Arizona State and Arizona coming in, bring a great wealth of talent to our conference. But you look at our conference right now, and I think we have 13 teams of the 14 teams right now in the top 80 in the country. The only team that's not is UCF right now, which they're going through a little bit of a transition of losing some players over the last few years and kind of rebuilding, but they'll be back inside the top 80 here within another year or two. So, our conference and our conference championship is unbelievable golf being played.
Coach, let me ask you a question along the same lines as recruiting and facilities and everything. How does NIL play into the golf program? Cincy Reigns or anything like that. How is that sort of structured, or how does that affect recruiting now?
At this moment right now, NIL is prevalent around the country. It's just in men's golf. It's just the way it is. I mean, most of your schools in the SEC have some type of NIL. A lot of schools in the Big 12 have NIL money. We currently are not utilizing any NIL money at the University of Cincinnati. Is it something that I think we need? I definitely think it's something we need. I'm not looking to I'm kind of an old school guy, and I try to take very good care of my players on the road with feeding them well, doing little things to make their experience here better. If I was to utilize NIL as a coach, I would utilize it a lot different than it's being used in other sports. And, not to, criticize how other sports are using it, but I would suggest to my players that, okay, I'll give you $10,000 or $15,000 a year. Here's 3 ways that you can use this money to benefit yourself. Number 1 would be to make your scholarship whole, because we're an equivalency sport. We're not a fully funded sport where you're either on a full ride or you're a walk-on. We have 4.5 scholarships that's allowed by the NCAA. I spread that amongst our team. So option number 1 would be to make your scholarship whole. Option number 2 would be to use that $10,000 or $15,000 to play summer golf. That's when our kids get better. And most of our kids, their parents are spending $10,000 or $15,000 in the off season to send their kid around to play tournaments to get better for our program. And then the third way I would use it is you put that money in the bank. By the time you're a senior, you're going to have $50,000 or $60,000 to start your professional career. So actually using it with some common sense, not doing stupid things like you see some of these student athletes around the country, buying Ferraris and stuff. That's not what this was. That's not what this is about. I'm an old school guy. I believe the opportunity that our kids are presented at the University of Cincinnati is incredible. I realize some of these players bring, what it's all about, name and likeness to the university, but at day's end, without the university, they have nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll circle back to that NIL a little bit later with a follow-up. But, moving to the Big 12 here, Commissioner Yormark has really set his sights on growing this conference. He's got some big ideas. I think people are really wondering, as far as us golf fans go, why isn't there really too much streaming available, or even options outside of, private networks?
I would say that's coming. I think our Big 12 championship is streamed on ESPN Plus. I'm pretty sure that it is.
Hell
but
yeah.
I think you're going to see more of that coming down the line in golf. The biggest thing with making it difficult to stream golf is getting access on the entire golf course. You're talking about a huge piece of property where you're trying to show live golf. Pretty hard concept. When you're in a basketball arena, a volleyball setting, a football stadium, you've got one spot where you need to film. Where golf, I mean, there could be something crazy going on the 13th hole and the cameras are on the 18th hole. So that makes golf an extremely challenging sport to cover. But at the same time, the product that the Big 12 is producing from a golf standpoint is incredible. And I think what, Commissioner Yormark has done, with the Big 12, to think that in another year, the Big 12 is going to have a football game in every single time slot each Saturday, a noon game, a 3:30 game, a 7:00 game, and a 10:00 game. What exposure the conference is going to get just because of that brilliance by Commissioner Yormark to say, hey, we want our face on a primetime game, in every time slot. So, I'm excited for what the future holds in the Big 12. I really think it's a great conference, and especially from a golf standpoint, we have tremendous programs and tremendous coaches, and that's going to keep the stability and keep the conference good every year.
Sure,
Love
good
it.
stuff.
Yeah. Just circling back to that, that concept of NIL and really, being old school and, trying to help these guys, spend their money wisely and be their best version of themselves, really. One of the concepts I kind of thought about is you have some players that are just good enough to enter, big tournaments to amateurs, right? But
Yes.
they're cut off from winnings.
Yes.
What do you think about the concept of, maybe you put that in a trust, for
Yep.
when they graduate, or it's not, paid out right away.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. And the thing that's so great about college golf, I go back to my days of playing college golf at the University of Oklahoma, and the opportunity that Oklahoma gave me to play golf at the highest level every single week set me up for my professional career. When I started in coaching 19 years ago, my goal was to bring the University of Oklahoma men's golf program to Cincinnati. It's here right now. We don't have the national championships to show for, or the All-Americans, but we are building a program to where, number one, I'm extremely proud of. My donors are extremely proud of. We're building a top 50 program here that we all can be extremely proud of, and it starts with the players that we've recruited and the players that have been through this program for the last 20 years. They've all made a tremendous commitment to me, a tremendous commitment to the program. That's why we are where we are today.
Awesome stuff, Coach. I know we want to get you out of here. Be respectful of your time. Just a couple more questions here.
You're good.
This one comes from the best golfer I personally know, my buddy Ryan Stanley. He says, "Can college golf be better in capitalizing on one of the last stages of team golf in a golfer's career?"
You know what? I think that's a great question. And team golf. We talk about in our program. Number one, you're an individual until we're done. Then we all come together and add up our best four scores. That's our team score. I want guys each week to go into the event in their mind to play golf to win the championship as a team, or win the championship as an individual. And we talk about each player. You have a responsibility to this team, and that's you to play your best. And, I very rarely ever ask kids in situations coming down the stretch of a tournament, well, you need to hit this shot in order for the team to win. And, I don't want to jeopardize their individual opportunities to win, to put that in front of, team. I want that to be in front of team victories, if you understand what I'm saying. So I like guys to play their own game, do their own thing. And at the end of the day, we're a team after the round is complete. But when you're out there doing your thing, you're an individual.
Good stuff. I like it. Last question we have here for you, Coach. Maybe the hardest question we've asked you today. Maybe not. I'm excited to see what you have to say here. But what are some of your favorite or some of your favorite courses around the greater Cincinnati area?
Well, I think we're blessed with a lot of amazing facilities in Cincinnati. And I think, one of the unique things about the clubs in town is if you go back 30 years ago when the golf ball didn't go the distance that it did today, these golf courses were great golf courses. I think back into the late 70s, early 80s when Clovernook used to host sectional U.S. Open qualifier. And I think Nicklaus had played there, Palmer had played there. That course is somewhat landlocked right now, and they don't have the ability to increase the length to match today's youthful player. But it's still a great golf course. Coldstream is where we play. I think Coldstream is a phenomenal facility. It's with the renovation of Keith Foster a few years ago. No question, it's the premier course in Cincinnati, just in my opinion, having played on the PGA Tour and having played all the courses in Cincinnati. The shot values that it provides our team on a day-to-day basis prepares us for anywhere we have to go. But I love the old school. I love Makatiwa. I think Heritage Club is a great PB die course. Camargo obviously is great. Kenwood is great. I could continue on the entire, go through the entire courses around town, and we're blessed. We're blessed to have great golf courses in the Cincinnati area.
Good stuff. I got to get out and play some of those places.
Yes.
They all sound like a great place to shoot a 105 or 110. So so we will do that. Coach, I certainly appreciate your time. Love this. Love trying to bring some more light to the program. Good luck this week down in South Carolina. Darin and I, we have our visors on and polos. You look kind of bundled up. Is weather going to play a factor this week?
This is a wind shirt. So down in South Carolina, they have an insect that's called a no-see-um. And literally, they are the biggest pest, little gnats that fly around, getting your hair, so I've got a little bounce deal in the back of my cap to try to keep them away. So, I got the arm sleeves and everything trying to keep these bugs away. But I really appreciate you guys having me on. I'll be a guest of your program anytime you want me on. I love to talk about our program, love to talk about our kids, and I love the entire athletic department at the University of Cincinnati. I think it's important that our fans are patient with the progress of moving into the Big 12. As a fan, I've loved every single basketball game, win or lose, that's been played at Fifth Third. If you don't like that energy and that excitement in basketball, you're missing the boat.
Yeah.
And nothing against East Carolina, Tulane, and other. These are real games that we're playing now. And I've been to every home game this year, and I've had a blast because I love basketball, and I think Coach Miller's going to do a great job, and I think he's doing a great job right now. It's really damn hard to win games.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what most people don't understand, how hard it is in college athletics. It's really hard to win.
Big one tonight for sure.
Big one tonight. So.
Definitely. All right, Coach. Well, good luck this week.
I appreciate you guys.
Invite you back on.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the time.
See ya.
See you guys.
See ya.
That was great stuff. Great stuff by Coach there. Holy cow.
Yeah.
We got a lot of most of our questions and that we had answered by Coach, and he said he'd give us like 15, 20 minutes. He gave us like 30 minutes.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's great when your coaches, obviously every coach is going to love their program, but when they just want the university to succeed,
that's what I was going to say.
I love coaches that are a fan of the other coaches within your own department and system.
Yeah, 100%. He's the golf coach, but he's a fan of the basketball, the football team, the whatever it is. He seems to follow along with it all. Love that. Darin, let me ask you, what is your favorite golf course around Cincinnati?
I'm only a golfer as recent as 2019, really late 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm fairly new. I spent a lot of time over at Davoo. I used to, at least when I was a little bit closer. I do a lot of work over in Sharon Woods.
Okay.
I gotta get out and explore some more though.
Now, are you a guy? Are you like I'm gonna go to the 9-hole course that's closest to my house? Or are you like get out and try to see them all type of guy?
Get out and see them all. Some days you just want to roll out of bed and go. Like I said,
Sure.
Sharon Woods is pretty close to my house.
Yeah.
Back when my now wife lived closer than Clifton, when I would visit her on the weekends, I'd go to Davoo a lot for golf. I really like the Vineyard though. A little bit of the ways of a drive for me.
Never played there.
Yeah, that's way out in the east side. Really a like Anderson Batavia, I think, kind of.
Okay.
Great course, really flat. Those flat courses are really great for guys like us who don't have to necessarily contend with steep hills and things.
Oh yeah.
But big thanks to Aaron Seitz and Ryan Stanley for asking submitting questions. Anytime we got some special guests on, we love to see you guys submit questions. Either on Twitter or in the Discord. So that's always appreciated.
While you're on that, if you're listening and you haven't seen the 2024 golf digest that I put together on the web or on the blog, look that up. That kind of preceded this. As I was putting that together, I was like, I'm going to reach out to Coach Martin and see if he wants to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he was like, why not? So definitely check that out if you haven't. I'll put that in the show notes, the link. And if you've not, we're not deep, but like just beginning baseball season. Darin put together the 2024 Bearcats baseball Bible. That, and we have a preview episode of that as well. So check that out. We are keeping this thing rolling as we said. The basketball team has a super important game tonight against Kansas State at home. We're not going to talk basketball though, Darin. We said we wouldn't. We did about 30 minutes on golf, and we've depending on what happens tonight.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about in terms of basketball.
Yes.
So on the back half of this episode, let's get caught up on baseball.
Yes.
Let's talk about what's happening there. The women's basketball team, we can talk about them maybe for a little bit. They just lost to Iowa State today after putting together a great first half, and then the wheels kind of fell off the second half. But I want to get caught up on baseball number one here because we've actually played a lot of baseball so far here as the season got kicked off. And for some reason, I don't know why, maybe because I've not paid attention that much, but we're playing a lot of double headers. That's so many double headers.
That's college baseball for you, honestly. It's obviously exists in the pro ranks to have your double headers when need be. But you only got so much time that you can keep, rules wise, keep your athletes on campus and competing. So you gotta kind of be very cautious of their time there.
While Coach was talking to us here, I had a beer. I had a Sonder William Goat Bach at his Bach Fest this weekend, and I'm out. So as you get us kicked off, I see your Cincy light there. I'm gonna get another one from the beer fridge while we talk baseball because it's Saturday and I need another beer. So get us kicked off here, get us up to date, and I'll roll right back in here to see what's going on.
Well, as you heard there, it is time for a beer. Brought to you by Delhi Liquor. Drinking my Cincy Light today, keeping it consistent. Obviously, when talking college athletics with representatives of the university, you gotta be a little bit more safe about that when it comes to alcohol. So now it is time for a beer.
It is. I went with a Cincy Light as well, something a little lighter here.
Well, you need something smooth on the course, while you're out in the heat. So you don't want to think of something too heavy. A lot of stouts and thicker things coming out. Bach Fest usually. So you got to be careful about that. I wish we could have talked a little bit more about some more of the players. I know we featured a little bit, specifically some of the transfers. The golf team. But hey, we got a guest who's willing to come back on when he gets a chance. So good luck to the golf team. We have started our foray into baseball. Like I said before, I think the CFP run really pushed for people to see what else is out there, and we're going to try to give it to you guys and go on this journey together. So right now we are in a series with Northern Illinois that there is a game that's kicked off about 30 minutes ago for part 2 of our doubleheader today. But before that, we played Northern Kentucky, beat up on them 10-2. Nice little rivalry game there. And then we traveled to, Coastal Carolina for a tournament that featured Ball State, Illinois, and Coastal Carolina themselves. We finished second in that. If there is a placing, I don't think there's like a actual placing, but being that we only lost to one team, and that was the team to go 3-0, it's safe to say that we had a good time until we played Coastal Carolina. We started out against Ball State in a close 6-5 game. Had a little bit of a weather delay. I think that was pushed to Saturday. It was originally supposed to be played on Friday. And then we beat them, shifted it to Illinois. They have a actual radio network that they use for that.
Really?
Yeah. So it was really fun. Yeah, really fun to listen to on their baseball radio station. Or, well, I guess it's like really their whole radio station for just general Illinois sports. Great to listen to someone else's broadcast when you're winning, I should say, because otherwise we'd wouldn't be having a good time listening to some bias. But won that 10-3. There were some scary moments there, but ultimately we really got it going. They tried to fight their way back in, but then we just pull away a few other times. And then on to Sunday, we played Coastal Carolina. Baseball school, without a doubt. They're ranked 25th, or at least we're ranked 25th at the time. And they clobbered us, unfortunately.
25-2.
25-2.
Holy hell.
Yeah. Again,
it was a matter of pitching.
Yes.
They jumped on that pitcher early, and they did not let him go. He didn't even make it through the first inning. I forget who it was, but
I think I think we hit 3 different pitchers in that first inning, if I remember correctly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a work in progress. It's, you're rebuilding a team here and building the program and your image. And dare I say, taking the sport a little bit more seriously this time around, because I think the last 10 years just had a little bit of success for 1 year, and we just never kind of got to be as good as we were expected to be in that last coaching era. And then before that, you just had losing a lot and doing silly things on camera. So, which is fun. It makes Sports Center, you make Sports Center, but not a great look.
Not unless you're the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, unless you're Savannah Bananas. Are we even a concept at that point, or I think they were just building that out actually. Anyway, I will say, shout out to Nate Taylor. He is an absolute unit. I don't know if you've seen him on the mound. Bishel's really excited about him. He actually had a really good outing during that tournament. And he looks as promised. Problem is, Bishel and Seth Logan can't pitch all game, every game. Baseball, just does not work like that anymore when it comes to pitchers. These younger guys are going to develop, but then you need some other people to develop as well. Whether you have some other freshmen who just click and figure it out later this season. Or you end up getting some transfers next year. But that's kind of a later discussion. Finding out, and we'll get to this a little bit later, kind of finding out, how it really works in baseball, college baseball, when, how the momentum swings happen, the pitcher rotation, mound visits. It seems they're less likely to have these pitchers dig themselves out, give them a chance to dig themselves out of trouble. And that switch just happens right away if it's definitely not working and they're sinking fast.
You brought, I thought you were going a different direction there when you brought up momentum swings, because the first matchup here was Xavier. Was like the definition of momentum swings. I think the Cats were up like 8-0.
We were initially up 10-2. I made a remark about I was It was
The
top of the fourth.
Discord blamed you, Darin. The
They blamed me
Discord
for that one.
blamed
I
you.
was like, Xavier not being good at baseball. Handshake. And then one run was called back apparently because it was during work, so I had to shift my focus back away from the game. And then I come back and we lost 11-9. And, you know, Doge blamed me on that one. I took the L for that one. Yeah, it was not a good result after the fact.
Not fun though. But you know what? Like this like in traditional basketball fashion, the Bearcats lose to Xavier and then go on a winning streak.
Yeah.
Like baseball Bearcats, the same pretty much here. They're since then, you know, we can get into however much you want, but they're on a 3-game win streak since dropping a terrible one to Xavier.
Yeah. You say 6? No, it should be 3, I think, right? 6? Yeah. 3. And currently Illinois is up on us in the third, bottom of the third, 2-0.
That's game 2 of the doubleheader, right?
Game
First
2 of the doubleheader.
6-5.
Yeah. We're playing at home right now, so if you're down there, have some beer and some hot dogs for us. We're stuck in the studios here.
And they play tomorrow, and it's supposed to be a pretty nice day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be some good weather. With the doubleheader, it's reduced innings for the first game, so it was 7 innings, and they're playing 9 now, a full 9. You can check out the action on Big 12 Now, which is just ESPN Plus. So far, not so good in this series, like I said. Hopefully, we can get something going here. But as it stands, 2-0, bottom of the third, 1 out. Illinois is pitching right now. Yeah, so like I said, we're new to this college baseball journey. What is something that's really jumped out to you that you are learning, about the sport, the way it's played?
Great question. Like I said, I think the double headers, that's like getting them in, and then shifting the amount of innings. Like you said, the first game here today, the Bearcats won 6-5, was a 7-inning matchup, and then switching that into a 9-inning for the second one just seems really really weird. Like could you like in football, like we're going to play a 12-minute third quarter, and then we're going to play a 22-minute fourth quarter. Like that, that's weird to me. That's different. I like maybe kind of like team golf for college. The double header doesn't happen ever in Major League Baseball. So this is like the last like I played double headers in high school and Little League or whatever. So this is kind of like the last effort for double headers, which is its own challenge but fun at the same time. So I like that aspect of it, even though the innings are different. I got to get out there and I got to see it for myself for sure. Like sooner than later, for just to sort of baseball is a lot about the experience and going out to the ballpark. I got to see that. I know. There is, I'm trying to think when it is. Oh, I think whenever the spring football game is, I believe there's a home football or baseball game that day.
Oh, there you go. Have your own doubleheader.
Yeah, 2-sport doubleheader there. That's just something I've kept in the back of my mind. It's neither here nor there really. But if I'm going to be able to go to the spring game, maybe parlay that into a baseball game as well. It's just a random thought. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, just that's what I would say to that question that you asked. The innings, the double headers, squeezing in a lot of baseball in kind of a short amount of time. What about you? Do you have your own thoughts on that along the same line? Yeah,
I mean, so obviously baseball, it's kind of about finding the right pitcher that you're going up against and getting some hits off of them. That's just kind of the thing, top to bottom. But in college, when they find that one pitcher that they are just eating off of, that seems like where a lot of the damage and offense is going to come in for a lot of teams.
Okay,
So you'll see like 6-run, 7-run innings, and then they just go cold for another 2-3 innings until then maybe another pitcher switches out. It's like a godsend if that pitcher gets himself out of trouble and they decide not to tag him out the next inning, and pull him off the mound, and they're already getting contact. You'll see them start to figure out their swings and start to make contact with it. Maybe a few foul balls, but they're starting to connect, and then you just kind of know it's like all over for them if they don't rescue themselves. So it's just kind of amazing when you see them going after a pitcher like we had Coastal Carolina. They just ate us alive at the start of that game. So I think that's been kind of the most interesting thing for me to observe.
Do you? I don't know how much MLB you watch, but I know if you have good pitching, of course you have an advantage, but it doesn't seem like in the major leagues it's that much dependent on pitching. Yeah. In college so far, as that's another thing I would say that if you don't have good pitching, it's going to be a long day for you. Doesn't. You could be terrible at everything else almost, but if you have good pitching, you'll be okay. That's what it seems like so far early on in this journey.
You keep the game manageable, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
You still have to have some bats to answer, be able to answer and do something with those possessions, but it keeps it from getting ridiculous. And you see what happens, when our best pitchers are, that we have, in the clubhouse are being rested or been pulled off. Because they're going to pull them out when they start to kind of tire and make mistakes. Mm-hmm. I forgot which game it was, but they did that to, I think it was Nate Taylor's, pretty big game. I want to say it was Illinois. He started to give up some contact, on some of his pitches, and he had actually already pitched past his limit, that they wanted for him at that point. So Bishop pulled him before it started to show. So
can we go back to a second here? In our baseball preview, we talked about as good as the Big 12 is in basketball. Yes. You said that they might even be better at baseball. Yep. And we just had Coach Martin on here and he said that basketball or baseball be damned. Mm-hmm. Golf is the Big 12 sport. Yes. How crazy is that? That's wild to me. Mm-hmm. The basketball is crazy. We've witnessed that. We've not really got into Big 12 baseball play yet, but we know TCU is really, really good along with some other teams. And Coach Martin's on here talking about that's great and all, but the Big 12 is a golf conference. What is happening here?
I can get behind that. I think what you're seeing, some regionality, is that word? This regional bias. Think about the sports that things like the Big 10 and Pac-12 may participate in, but you may not see in the Big 12 or the ACC or SEC is just going to have everything because they have the money, and so they're going to fund all those programs. But baseball, golf, sunny weather, good. A lot of schools have baseball and golf, but I think the weather, in some of those regions helps, attract talent to those areas. You see a lot of coastal schools that are really big on baseball. SEC softball and the SEC and baseball, huge. Golf, no doubt. And like I said, you spoke to Arizona State and Arizona, Colorado. We're adding some golf schools. Obviously, Oklahoma and Texas, like I said, kind of are those they fit more of that SEC vibe now, not only because they're going, but just the way they're able to fund their sports. So they have that pick and they have that variety. Growing these programs we have here, I think is that step two. Getting there. if we can latch on to the Big 12 and take advantage of the conference we're in, grow the golf program, grow the baseball program. It may not be so strange to see, baseball, see soccer make a comeback for the men's team, see a softball team pop up for women's, maybe get into gymnastics. It just, but I can get behind that this is probably the best golf conference and the SEC is not too far behind on that. It just makes sense.
For sure. Where's the baseball team sit right now record wise if we add it all up? I haven't even looked at that. Are they
they are sitting at I believe they are sitting at 6-4. So on a 3-game win streak, as you mentioned. We're undefeated at home. 0-4 away though, 2-0 at neutral sites.
Okay. Well, hey, maybe the trick is to play all the games on campus here. Yeah. As I'm on D1 baseball. That's like the holy grail of all things college baseball. If you're listening and not familiar with that, although pitching is shaky for us, we'll say. We got some dudes that can hit the ball. It looks like the third baseman Carrington Cross hitting 4.29 right now.
Yeah, he is dangerous right now. I was watching. I want to say it was it the Illinois game? It might have been that or it was Illinois game because I was listening on the radio and you could just hear the distress from the announcer when he came up to bat because he had been tearing them up the whole game to that point. They struck him out eventually, or struck him out, threw him out at that point, and just the relief at that point. He was eating that day. He's definitely one of our best weapons, if not our best weapon currently.
And then Josh Hagman, the left fielder, batting .438.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and then
he plays a good outfield game too. So
yeah, holy cow! So if pitching can settle in a little bit, it looks like we got some guys that can knock in some runs. So I think that'll be for me. That's the thing to watch going forward is the pitching progressing at a rate that lets the offense generate runs and put us in games. That'll be what I watch for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, it looks like for sure. Watch out for that. It looks like Christian Mitchell, I guess, has completed his shift to being just he's playing second base out there. He's completed his. I think that I don't know the full extent of his pitching last year when he was at Central Michigan, but it looks like he's completed his his transformation into just purely a field player. Let's see. Right now, I think they got us. It's still 2-0 currently as it stands. We haven't really done too much damage. It's looking. We have one on base. Speaking of Mitchell, he's actually up to bat currently as it reads. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can pull it out. I'm sure it's hard to kind of go 3-0 or 4-0 against a team after you've already gone 3-0 against them or 2-0 against them to start. So we shall see how that goes the rest of this game.
Hell yeah. As we finish up this episode 110 of the podcast, when I typed that out, I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy, 110 episodes. But we got some things working in the pipeline. If you follow the Catskeller Social Club on Twitter, which is at Catskeller SC, if you're not following that, follow that because you get kind of everything from us, Cincy Slangin, Captain Cincy, maybe some other people we have in the works. But we have some announcements in regards to the Catskeller Social Club coming up here soon. Officially, March 1st, we'll have some new things to talk about here, some new guests to have on as well in terms of that announcement. So good stuff there. The blog is back up and running and healthy. We got baseball preview, golf preview. They'll both be in the notes. We'll see if the Bearcats, basketball wise, can't put a miracle of a run here and make it to March. We'll see what happens there, but everything is good to go. Happening once again here at the Catskeller Social Club.
Yeah.
And spring football is not that far away.
Yeah, spring ball coverage will start soon. So,
yeah,
as much as we can cover, we don't really we're guys who work. This is not our job, so we can't really send anybody out there to watch consistently, unfortunately. Maybe one day, who knows? But
yeah. You can learn a lot from the spring game, though. A lot. So, I definitely want to see. I went last year. Hopefully, you and I can link up there and hit the tailgates. I know there's some. I don't know if the Den is going to do it, but the Republic maybe they're tailgating that event. So we got stuff to do here. Looking forward to the year-round Bearcats fandom.
I know they were testing out some of the Republic guys were testing out their rib recipe last time for the fall season. So we'll see how it goes. We need to. It's also, I guess it's our spring game, right? Too. We gotta get in a little bit tailgate practice in.
100%. Last thing here, our sponsor, the Delhi Liquor Store, you mentioned that as I was grabbing another beer that I bought from them. This Wednesday, every Wednesday we do pint night at the Delhi Liquor Store. Catskeller Social Club participant is always good for a chat in the Discord or wherever. Nick Moscato, he's the beer rep leading this Wednesday's event, which is Trogue's Brewery.
Yeah.
I will be there. It's always a good time. There's a food truck there Wednesday, so a shameless plug to come out and have a beer, maybe talk some Bearcats, and it's always a good time. It's the thing that the Delhi Liquor Store is most known for, I would say. So come out. I know Nick will appreciate this plug, but have some Trogues. They said that they're tapping a new hazy IPA, I think, for the first time. So should be a good time out there.
Love it.
Yeah, I will be there. Darin, we're probably going to talk to each other real soon here. We'll get offline here, and then we'll discuss when we're going to be online again to talk basketball. So appreciate your time. Great golf preview. First time we've ever done anything like that. First head coach on the podcast in the books, and we'll be back here real soon to talk some basketball.
All right.
Cheers. Go Bearcats.
Go Bearcats.